getting more and more retirees lately.
Not just you. Felt like a damn factory worker these last few months. Oh well. Nothing a few drinks won't cure. Come on, let's go hit up.
Welcome to the Halcyon Holdings Corporation Early Retirement Center. You, the lucky few, have been selected to spend the rest of your days living the high life in your own private district in Byzantium. When you arrive, you'll be whisked away to your very own luxury penthouse, furnished exclusively by 24/7 Furniture's Deluxe Falscowood Collection. Some assembly required. 24/7 Furniture is not responsible for any injury, psychological damage, or divorce litigations that occur during the assembly process. After you get settled in, you'll have the chance to explore your new home. Why not go for a bite at one of our many restaurants, like CNP's Blazing Borscht Barbecue or Rizzo's All-You-Can-Crunch Cereal Buffet? Or maybe you'd like to head to the bar and enjoy an ice-cold Zero G Brew by Spacer's Choice. Zero G Brew, an ale that's good for what ails you, although in the early retirement district, nothing will. All this and more will be complimentary for the entirety of your stay, courtesy of the Halcyon Holdings Corporation. You won't have to spend a bit. So relax, grab a refreshment from one of our vending machines, and enjoy our specially constructed welcome center. While you're here, be sure to check out the displays for some fun facts about the early retirement program and selection process. Then, once you're ready, enter the elevator at the end of the hall and leave your troubles behind. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Today is the first day of your early retirement. Congratulations. Welcome to the Halcyon Holdings Corporation Early Retirement Center. You, the lucky few, have been selected to spend the rest of your days living the high life in your own private district in Byzantium. When you arrive, you'll be whisked away to your very own luxury penthouse, furnished exclusively by Some assembly required. 24/7. After you get settled in, you'll have the chance to explore your new home. Why not go for a bite at one of our many restaurants, like CNP's Blazing Borscht Barbecue or Rizzo's All-You-Can-Crunch Cereal Buffet?
Elevator go back up?
Unexpected noise. I got content things.
Right? Fair mistake. this, right? This would have made a great arena match. What a waste.
Sorry, I can't.
System. So tasty.
You gotta teach me that.
What do you think you're doing? Worker determined to be operating within the parameters of the law.
Nice and easy. What about Virginia?
For my gun? You just come up with that out of the blue?
I might have been thinking about it for a while. It's okay if you don't like it.
Actually, it's perfect. Virginia it is.
Oh, there. That's one right there. Can't you just see the stench of I must admit, I'm getting a certain thrill out of our little arrangement. What? You mean it's just a sham they perpetuate so they can dispose of the rabble? That's brilliant. To take the most burdensome members. Why, I had no... Just as any professional should be, even if your profession is violently inclined vagrant. Now then. In any event, while I'm deeply grateful...
This property is off limit. This ultimatum?
Got your paperwork squared away?
How did you get in here? You're not one of my guards.
Oh, my law.
So, this is one of the guys who...
If this is about another Aetherwave clip or radio spot, you may kindly... Have I... Slow... Then you're... That means you're a dissident? But what are you doing? My friend, the slightest demonstration of independent thought, which is why I'm... Drugs, of course. I don't have...
I don't know if our chemicals are here, but...
Process of elimination. The only other person with access? Of course. It's Rockwell again. Who else? And I thought he was only holding me here to keep me out of the way. You are a quick study, indeed. I've long suspected Rockwell of transacting business in my name, but this proves it.
Yeah, sure. It's always...
Please, whatever it is that brought... Whatever Rockwell's doing, he'll be doing it from the HHC.
This all feels off, Captain. Like when there's a storm.
Believe me, things have been off around here for a very, very long time. A reckoning is most certainly due.
We really gonna do...
This is about more than... Why, this is... It usually doesn't turn out so well for the dissidents in the stories, but I like your verve. Now, we've got to get into the HHC. That's in the Acropolis district, but only board employees are allowed into the district. There's a heavily guarded checkpoint. There might be a route through the maintenance tunnels, but I'm afraid I don't know. Well, you won't have much human company down there. Plenty of sprats and automechanicals, though. When you reach the HHC building, Oh, I haven't been allowed up there in years. A gilded minibar, perhaps? A personal theater? The board's lackeys are none too bright. I simply claimed I'd lost it. Wait! Rockwell has one of the only terminals. Please, take this and transmit it from his office. But they need to know what's... Good.
The Acropolis...
You could have asked me.
What in the law's name are you... Sure. Did I say restricted area? Slip of the tongue.
Captain, I stand out here like a big, greasy thumb. Yeah, huh?
Do we really need all the security? I have to go through 3 checkpoints just to take a bath.
Welcome to the official headquarters of the Halcyon Holdings Corporation Board.
Will stop at
Today's
nothing
greeting
to ruin
is brought
this
to you by
colony.
Anti-Cleo, a
Hell, I
subsidiary
even
of
heard a rumor
Colway
that Celeste
Pharmaceuticals.
Jolliker was recently uncovered as a dissident.
But couldn't they concentrate the security outside the building so we can get some work done?
Why are you so bothered by having a few guards around? I think I'm gonna...
State your business. Please step. Huh. I didn't realize. I'll just need you to. Now let's. Well, how nice for you. Just know there are a bunch of guards upstairs, and they're all high on dervish mist and low.
If you'll forgive my saying, personal assistant to Ah, oh, you were being serious. Will there be Will there? Excuse me, just a moment.
One person gets all this space. Just to sign papers all day?
Good afternoon. I'm Chairman Rockwell, and I'm here to address a serious issue facing us. As you all know, our colony has been successful beyond our wildest dreams. Unfortunately, we've recently discovered that our food supply will not be able to sustain Halcyon's population in the long term. Everyone will die. Everyone will slowly stop living from malnutrition. But we're doing it together, and that's what matters. I fucking swear, if someone doesn't give me something to read that will placate the masses soon, all of you will find yourselves violently unemployed. But I can assure you there's nothing to fear. We've got a solution. It's called the Lifetime Employment Program. We will freeze most of the colony to preserve resources, while the best and brightest of Byzantium continue living in prosperity. Look, you idiots! How many times do I have to tell you we can't say shit like that? Fire whoever wrote this! While Halcyon's brightest minds solve the problem of our nutritional shortage, the rest of the colony will be placed in suspended animation. Individuals will be revived on a rotating basis so that every Halcyonite can be part of the important work of saving our colony. By testing paperweights. Sorry, couldn't resist. Let's go again. And someday, in the not-too-distant future when we've solved this crisis, we'll all be back together again working for the good of Halcyon. Until then, the board shall provide for the deserving just as it always has. So, obey your supervisors, take your vitamins, follow your corporate-mandated grooming rituals, and rest assured with the board on your side, there is nothing to worry about.
But I'm all for living fast and dying young.
I beg your pardon, Minister Clark's... What?
Not so fast.
It's okay.
I don't care if you're a brain surgeon. Like I don't know how you got that, but What? Oh no. You must be from Chairman Rockwell's office. I'm so sorry. No one told me you were coming. Please, go.
What's this I hear about you ordering more tests performed with sample 4157? That's actually a
Got a promotion coming. I can feel it. What was that? I better... Not so fast! No visitors allowed. Let me guess. We've talked to her before. Well,
Real slick.
Got my sights on you.
Hmm? What was that? Lawbreaker, I saw that. This area... When you put it that way, still.
Keep your eyes out for this.
You have a message from...
No one ever looks quite the same in person as they do in my reports. And my reports of you have been exceptionally thorough. You've had quite a career. I've been keeping up with you ever since Emerald Vale. Now that was an interesting piece of work. A rundown backwater, barely worth the ink on a map. Until you showed up. You walked through Edgewater and in your wake transformed it from a loyal company town to a haven for dissidents. I'm actually a little impressed. All this happened because some mysterious stranger fell out of the sky. Not always. For the longest time, I could never be sure if you were on our side or against us. You should be back on the Hope, frozen in a hibernation chamber. Yet here you are, flying about in a stolen ship, leaving a trail of paperwork in your wake. The board doesn't know what to make of you. But I do. I've seen your potential. There's so much we can do for this colony. We raised security on the Hope after Wells broke in. As for discovering the identity of the missing colonist, all we had to do was scan the passenger manifest. You have something I want. I'd like to negotiate. There's exactly one vessel in all of Byzantium that looks like it dropped out of an Aetherwave drama. Phineas Wells is wanted by the board. I want to convince you to turn him in to us. He has a litany of charges against him. Vandalism, illegal experimentation, sedition. I could go on. Wells is a dangerous madman. His plan is going to endanger everyone in Halcyon. He's an obsessive psychopath. And he's using you. You're in contact with Wells. I want you to send us a tracing signal from his communication terminal. Your
Adjutant Akonde's call. We've arrived at the groundbreaker. If you don't mind my saying, Captain, Minister Clark is lucky to have you on his side. My compliments to Sam. I do so love a clean cargo hold. Welcome back. What part of the Where in Monarch? Warning. All colonists are urged to reconsider. There are no people aside from... This is what... The local report is that you will very likely die. How can... What part of the Where in... Ah, Monarch. The armpit of the Halcyon system. Her last functioning port... I believe it has something to do... You may... Take care... We have successfully arrived at Phineas's orbital lab, Captain, and we are still in one piece. Shall I congratulate myself, or would you like to do the honors?
Busy in your... All I need now is... What? Oh, yes, well, that's obvious. Why do you think we've been doing all... Oh, hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that Halcyon's on the brink of total collapse, and the chairman's plan to save all of us is to save himself? I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but that's not a... That makes two things we don't have. Time and chemicals to revive the other settlers. None of this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to revive the Hope's colonists. Human test subjects. Damn, that's not enough. We're out of time. We're out of chemicals. We may... Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? Short of lining up every member of the board, do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds Earth ever sent us, uncorrupted by the board. The board's going to dispose of them all and transform the Hope into a prison. We need to get to those colonists before the board. I have enough chemical... Merciful gibbering law! You're a genius! We bring the Hope to us. Skip the entire ship across the distance of colony space, right next to my lab. Yes, exactly. You're a step ahead of me. But I perceive the shape of your plan. If we link up the Hope to the Unreliable, then use your navigational computer to calculate a reasonably safe vector, we can skip the entire colony ship into the rings of Terra 2.
I don't know much about skip drives, not the physics anyhow. I do know the Hope's real massive. How's our bitty little ship supposed to skip it?
Excellent question, my sharp-witted mechanic. You will use your own ship to power up the Hope's skip drive. Your navigational computer can handle the rest.
I've got a healthy disregard for personal safety, but This sounds crazy, even to me.
Your instincts are correct. By any reasonable definition of sanity, this plan is crazy. Isn't it wonderful? You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the Unreliable. Then head to... Once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab, I'll have easy access to the frozen colonists. I can start reviving them immediately. It wouldn't surprise me. When I pulled you out of the Hope, the board nearly intercepted me. I expect they stepped up security since my little act. Skip drives were never designed to be used within a system, but I skipped my ship across Halcyon when I rescued you, and that took... That is, I ruined my ship and nearly killed myself in the... Unlikely. The Hope is as massive as the Groundbreaker, but compared to the rings of Terra 2, positively min... The board might notice, possibly, depending on the position of their heads relative to the depth of their collective posteriors. I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The Hope is carrying some of humanity's most brilliant thinkers. Scientists, engineers, experts in their field. If we work together, we can still find a way to save Halcyon. The board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond saving. I choose to believe otherwise. If there's even the slightest chance we can save Halcyon from oblivion, then we have to take it.
Can we talk? So we're really gonna... I've seen lots of crazy, Captain, but Phineas is in a class of his own. Do you really think he knows what he's doing? Sending us to skip the Hope into... There's a sobering thought. I think this whole plan's insane. But it'll make a good story, you know, if we survive. Speaking of, I get that Phineas thinks he's saving the colony, but what about you? Why risk your neck on this crazy scheme? Makes you wish for a fancier ship with bigger engines. Don't know about you, but I'd be out of here if I could. Still, all this depends on the other Hope colonists. Are they gonna pull us out of the shit? Or are we all just gonna leave a big... This is why I like you, Captain. Well, whenever you're ready to do this, I'm with you. Anything...
Some crew members are causing a disturbance.
Now, hold on. What happens if we hit the wall?
Most likely, the bullet will ricochet, which could be bad. Or hilarious. There's a tiny chance of a hull puncture, which would suck us into space one chunk at a time. Bad and hilarious.
Ugh. Just imagining that makes me sick.
That's why we don't miss.
Captain, I hope Dr. Wells has not dragged you into one of his irrational schemes again. My diagnosis of his mental stability is not flattering. Welcome back, Captain. How can I be? May luck be with you. We have arrived at the Hope. I need you to reroute power from... You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable... If your calculations are even or the sun. Forgetful. I need you to... You'll have to... Also there...
Nice going.
Keep your shoulders up.
Not a peep from me.
No problem. Be right there. Real slick. Can't think of much worse than drooling on your pillow in front of a... bunch of strangers. Can't think of much worse than drooling on your pillow in front of a bunch of strangers.
System. Security patrol initiated. Error. Error. Registered. A fine of 10,000.
Can you hear me, Captain? I have successfully integrated myself into the Hope's comm systems, and am attempting to establish contact with the Hope's more primitive processor now. Would you like me to play a mood-suitable music selection while you travel to the bridge? Oh, sorry. File not found. I see you've located the stasis chambers. Which pod were you slumbering in for so long, Captain? The missing one, I take it? Should we assign Sam for a cleanup?
Oh gosh. I'm gonna be sick.
tired of patrolling? Go rough somebody up.
That's the Hope's computer up ahead. I'll admit, I am curious to wake him.
Hope's so much like Groundbreaker. I knew they were sisters, but it's eerie. Like walking in another universe where we all died.
Going.
No can do.
Greetings, Captain. I am speaking to you through the Hope's computer system. It's a rather cramped feeling, but it'll do. Are you sure? That is and also potentially kill an entire... Jump-starting the skip drive. Destination set to the rings of Terra 2. I wouldn't...
In case I don't get another chance to say...
Admitting it down.
ADA, does your captain seriously intend to do a micro-jump in system with engines that haven't been powered in 70 years on a derelict ship?
That is what my captain intends, yes.
But that is a gross misuse of the skip drive. The Zero Point Drives Corp and I will not be held responsible for any damage incurred during transport, and this will cause extreme damage.
Yes, I am aware of that.
You should not be doing this. The humans will die.
Thank you, Hope. It looks like all systems are go. Captain, I would advise you to hold on to something. Now. Oh, good. Into Terra 2's orbit. Perhaps you should check in on him.
Oh, again.
These were the private quarters of the Hope's former crew. Shall we hold a moment of silence for the dearly departed? No? That's odd, because my programming would indicate that when forced to confront the idea of self-death, organics prefer... Oh, I see. Yes, never mind.
At least no one's gonna mind if we take their stuff.
Not so far. I don't rec... I'm just... Yeah. I don't have time for this. Move on.
worker.
It ain't stealing if no one sees.
Unexpected, no beginning, secured worker is error. Error. Error.
Captain, I am receiving a transmission from Dr. Captain, I shall...
The board is here. They found... I can't stop them from getting me, and there isn't enough time to explain. The board, all their lackeys, they're all a bunch of swine! You fucking pigs! I'll take you all out with me!
It would seem the recording captured some rather dire events. I presume you'll want to dock at the... How can... See you soon, Cap. We have successfully arrived at Phineas's orbital lab, Captain, and we are still in one piece. Shall I congratulate myself, or would you like to do the honor?
Looking for this.
That's just pissing him off. On your right, Cap.
Captain, if you're looking for crew members Ellie or Felix, they're sharing a drink upstairs. Captain, as it appears we may soon be... I believe the crew would like to speak with you to...
Well, folks, I ain't exactly keen on busting into a prison, but riddling bored stooges with bullets does sound like a ride and a half.
Mr. Phineas is just about the only person with power trying to do any kind of good in Halcyon. We gotta bust him out.
To extract the scientist, you will need to infiltrate the labyrinth. But that course of action is likely to be quite dangerous, Captain. I am programmed to warn you whenever you exhibit inclinations toward risky behavior. Breaking into Tartarus will not be easy.
Getting in is the simple part. It's getting out again that's the trouble. Trust me, I know.
Let's just do it. Kick down some doors, grab Doc Wells, and cut a path out. We don't need a plan. We got guns.
If you really mean to do this, you should see to your final affairs and close out any unfinished business. Once you sneak into Tartarus, you may be there a while. Or permanently.
It's the craziest plan I've ever heard. And I mean that as a compliment.
You didn't hire me to think. And I ain't about to start now. You're my boss. And I'll walk into fire with you.
I think it's insane. But maybe the colony needs a healthy dose of insanity right about now.
I know it's dangerous. And I won't lie and say I'm not scared out of my wits. But I couldn't live with myself if we didn't do something.
You're asking for more than bravery from us, Captain. But there are worse ways to go than dying for a good cause. I'm in.
Let Sam get the grime out. It's what our units do best.
The entire plan is a terrible idea, but I admire your bravado, Captain, which leads me to illogically believe, against the odds, that you will be successful.
We gonna prepare? Sure. Guess I could give my ass-kicking boots.
Now that's a program I can get behind.
Thinking on your feet's more important anyhow.
Yes, who needs a plan?
Most... I'm not exactly a model employee. Not like you wanted. The kind that stays quiet and gets the right work done in the right order every day. It's not normal for anyone to do as their parents. You take a vocational test. That decides your schooling and your career. When I tested out for maintenance, everyone figured it was on account of my dad. They were real unhappy with us. Because they were hoping their own kid would get the job and get sent back to Edgewater. When folk go away for schooling, they don't get back to where they begun. Not usually. You go straight to your first job, wherever the company's got an opening. Well, it ain't exactly cruel to have the promise of a paying job. And that's all it is. You go where the company needs you, where your skills do the most good. Well, I'm good at making things work the way they ought. There's times I'm working deep in the guts of a loader, getting it all running perfect. Anyhow, I was happy to get back home. Oh, there were a whole lot of then there'd be...
Something on your mind?
Good to see you, boss.
Hey, Cap.
If I still believed in the grand plan, a revelation... Knowing you, I can only assume you have already begun formulating a plan. Yes, of course. And when you do, you can count on me to back your play. Your instincts haven't failed us so far. What are we contemplating? Bokonu, the I used to believe their religion. How pompous and sure of myself I was. I wouldn't say my parents disowned me, strictly speaking, but I couldn't understand it. I was only trying to make them proud. I was so certain my potential was wasted as a laborer, and was...
We're now in orbit above Roseway, Captain.
Clear the roadway. Obstruction of movers is punishable by a fine of no less than 10,000 bits.
Ah, I remember you. Aha. I knew that'd entice you to return. I asked you here because I have a working prototype of the Altinature, Auntie Cleo's very first weapon. I'd like you to have it before it gets confiscated. The schematics you fetched for me lent themselves well to the creation of the beauty you now possess. The market's already saturated, they said. Weapons are everywhere. Given your unlawful proclivities, I thought it'd be safest with you.
We've got a fight on our hands. Fine hit, Captain! Get it up! Get it up! Subtle work, Captain. What? Everyone all right?
Crew report. Nyoka is drunk. Surprise. I am pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for trespassing is execution. Please be advised that electrical storms on the surface of Tartarus make departure impossible at this time. Resident count is as follows: 3,070. The interior. I would also ask that you leave your captain's ID with me. In the event that you do not return, I can make the assurance that I will not leave with another captain unless you do not Oh, speak of the devil. Captain,
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing... UDL does appreciate the courtesy you've done us. As a show of our deepest gratitude... All right. I'm feeling generous. Anyway, wait, is that from the Groundbreaker? What the...
Transmission terminated. Biometric ID received. Transferring data to external. How can I request you do not wake me if I am sleeping upon your...
patented right by us once.
Security
Now it's the board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I'm free. Push on, Mardat.
Prison has the bars, but it's got a storm like that guarding the gates.
Getting in's one thing. Let's just hope we're able to get out again. Nice of them to leave us a few options.
Got my carrier. Hey. Are you new? Oh.
System alert. Investigating. Caution worker.
Hey, you!
Are you new?
Worker.
Let's go, troops. Stellar Base counting on us.
Spreading the good word, one bullet at a time.
That's how we fucking do it!
Can't get past that armor!
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. I had heard you'd taken a mechanic under your wing. What's the matter, girl? Couldn't find actual employment?
The captain's treated me right. Better than any of you bored folk ever have. I'm exactly where I want to be.
Ah, and the wayward doctor. Are you about done with your escapades? We have faces that need lifting, after all.
These days, I'm more interested in breaking them. Wouldn't mind taking a swing at yours.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. My word! You've It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thankfully, he's... Yes, he is an extraordinarily obstinate fellow. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. Oh yes, go on, wake them up. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat is... Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought...
We're helping.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and... If I and my people can ride it out in luxury and happiness, yes. I'll admit, there's no shortage of talented scientists and engineers there. Look, I'm not an unreasonable man. If... I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone to sell...
All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So, get in there and... fight!
Waste of company ammo. Watch a pro at work!
Here goes nothing!
For Monarch!
We're really doing this, huh?
Hope you're right about this, Captain.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural... I'm afraid, to your credit, Captain, you are one of the colony's finest specialists. Your technical abilities are beyond reproach. For all your talents... You make a new... Dr. Wells is being held in my... All that's left to do is put down this riot, arrest you, and then get on with the bloody business of saving this colony. Well, that's mostly correct. You're not leaving here at all. I take no pleasure in this. Leaving you alive is... Interesting that you think I'm going to die here. I believe I'm more than capable of taking you on. Fair point. I don't know how you've managed to defy the odds. By every reasonable estimate, you should be dead. Yet here you stand. I've devoted my entire life to protecting Halcyon. I'm not afraid to die in the line of duty. Don't you think I know that? You were always an unknown variable. This prison is equipped with an automechanic. And don't worry,
just die.
Get me out of here!
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough. I know, my friend, I know. And now it's finally over. The board's finished. It's only a matter of time before the entire system slips from their grasp. You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Hal. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
They haven't exactly been hands-on around here anyway. So there's one
Earth is humanity's home planet, Miss Fenhill. The psychological effects of losing our original home will be devastating.
You mean...
I'm afraid so, Miss Holcomb. Halcyon is the only home we have left. Returning to Earth is no longer an option. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed, including me. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds, and then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us? The chairman? I don't know why you let that heartless creature live, but I'll have to trust your judgment. You're the best thing to ever happen to Halcyon. If you want to take it upon yourself to lead this colony, you have my support. We're not a colony any longer, are we? Our last connection to Earth has been severed, and so we have been set free. Our future is uncertain, and no one knows what tomorrow holds. Exciting, isn't it?
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment she landed in Emerald Vale, her actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Between MSI's worker-centric policies and the iconoclast's manpower, Sanjar and Zora were able to rally many of the Terra 2 townships to their cause. MSI's workforce swelled, and the iconoclasts enjoyed a significant surge in their ranks. The board was too distracted by infighting and internal politics to stop MSI from becoming a powerful corporation and a refuge for townships that might have fallen through the cracks. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if her replacement could keep the Sublight family together. Adelaide McDevitt replaced Reed Thompson as the leader of Edgewater. She and her followers transformed Edgewater in their image. Anyone loyal to Reed was pressured into leaving town, and those who stayed behind adapted to her way of life. Adelaide transformed the old cannery into a new garden. The nearby Edgewater Cemetery provided a convenient source of fertilizer. As for Reed Thompson, it was said that he lasted exactly 2 days outside the walls of Edgewater. Years later, a marauder was found in possession of his hat. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with 2 hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker, and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name. And in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He eventually came to terms with his own past and was able to forgive the mistakes of his younger self by devoting his remaining years to serving the colony. In the end, Dr. Wells was able to save every scientist and engineer aboard the Hope. Over the next decade, nearly all of the Hope's remaining colonists were successfully revived. Halcyon saw a period of rapid technological and scientific advancement. Breakthroughs in dietary supplements saved the colony from starvation. Geoengineering projects and social reforms began to change the structure and character of the colony. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Today, Halcyon has stabilized. The people of the colony work hard to adapt to their new circumstances. Nearby colonies send aid and supplies. Life will never be easy in Halcyon, but for the first time in its history, there exists a sense of real, genuine hope about the future. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? You brought an end to the riot on Tartarus and partnered with Chairman Rockwell to run the colony together. As Halcyon looked toward the future, you remained a constant presence in the colony's administration. You were never weighed down by bureaucracy, and you never had to dirty your hands with politics. You had people who did that for you. By your influence, Halcyon survived the turbulent years that were to follow. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.